Hello, everyone, and welcome to P1 Broadcasting presents the AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series. You've got Murph and you've got Sam Crow. And Sam, after what we saw last night, this is set to be a heck of an automobile race.
I hope it's an encore from last night, to be quite honest with you. I hope it's just a continuation of the great racing that we saw and the excitement and all the things that could play out for us in the event, and strategies and a couple of little dippity-doos and spinnaroos, and I just can't wait to see what the night unfolds.
You know, you were dead on last night when you said that this was a popular road course. Normally, summer races just in general don't draw very well in leagues. People are on vacation. People are going out of town. They're not near the rigs. Sam, we've got 21 trucks signed in tonight, and we've still got just about 8 minutes left in practice. Notable drivers. You got Ryan O'Donohue in here from yesterday. He ran very well. Matt Sisler was involved in the door banging, the beating, and the pummeling, the off-roading, the skidding that all happened. It was very reminiscent of the Ambrose Keselowski duel here. But Matt Sisler is back. He's in a pickup truck. He is very, very fast. Also, would like to point out that we have some newcomers. Crash Neon. That's a name that should be familiar to some of our fans that watch the open wheel broadcast. Crash Neon is in the house, and he's in a truck, and so I'm actually pretty excited to see what Crash Neon can do. You've got Chad Dulabon here. This may be an opportunity for some of these drivers to break the stranglehold that Chad Dulabon has had on the AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series. He is 18th quick in practice, Sam.
Well, I actually have a little bit of information of why Chad Dulabon is back in the pack with his time. It seems that Chad Dulabon has sustained a foot injury, and so apparently, typically, he is a left foot, right foot racer, and so he's having to do double duty with one foot, and so that's disabled him a little bit for tonight's event. He's actually just he's wanting to make sure that he doesn't cause any issues in the field tonight, but he does want to race. So we'll see how it unfolds for Chad during the evening, but we hope he gets better soon.
You know, we most certainly do, and that definitely can hurt if you're not a racer. You may not understand in passenger cars, and I can still hear Coach Ralph Winesapple instructing me to not brake with my left foot in the driver's ed car. Sam, most racers do use both feet. You gas with the right, brake with your left. So to be one-footed is a tremendous disadvantage, especially if you're used to that. Something else that I'd like to note here: Logan Edwards, who has been the road course specialist of the AMA, he is not in the server tonight, and so we're going to see some different drivers at the front. Sam, I'll tell you what. We gave the history lesson last night, so we'll do an abbreviated version. This track originated on public roads around the town of Watkins Glen in the 1950s. A permanent facility was built in the 1960s. It hosted the United States Grand Prix up until 1980, and many would consider this to be the spiritual home of Formula One in the United States, much as Laguna Seca is the spiritual home for the bikes. They quit the Formula One circus quit coming here in 1980 due to the track having defaulted on some payments. The track itself went bankrupt. It was rescued by local industry. Owens Corning poured a ton of money into this place. So did NASCAR through the International Speedway Corporation. This was the first track, I believe, Sam, that they owned outside of Daytona and Talladega. And it's been the home of the NASCAR Winston Cup Series through the 80s, the Nextel Cup, Sprint Cup, and now, what is it, just the Cup Series, Sam? They don't have a title sponsor?
Right.
I bet if you went and polled 100 race fans, you'd still have 75 of them still call it the Winston Cup, to be honest. But anyway,
well, NASCAR is actually, my understanding, NASCAR is actually looking for marketing firms that will help them reach the boomer generation again.
You know, that's just kind of funny, and it's kind of sad, Sam. But at any rate, we're here for a fun time at Watkins Glen. We're going to get rid of Van Halen and we're going to get rid of Van Halen. And Sam, as always, we'd like to challenge you, sir, with your guess as to who is the fastest in practice with about 4 minutes to go before we get qualifying underway.
Well, if we have a few minutes, then just let me say a couple of things here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, Ryan O'Donoghue, it's no surprise. It's almost become comical and a joke that we see Ryan O'Donoghue at the top of the speed charts. But I want to tell you that Ryan O'Donoghue is faster in the truck here than he was in the Xfinity car last night.
Now, he
was blistering fast.
Is that surprising to you that the trucks would be?
No. Well, it does
surprise
me a little bit, just simply because the truck is a little more loose than what the Xfinity car was, and so, or the Grand National car as they call it here in the AMA, and so it can really make a difference in speed coming off of the corners, rear grip when you're trying to get throttle on, and so too much throttle in the back of the truck can come around very easily, especially coming out of the carousel or entry into the bus stop. So the truck can be a little bit more precarious, but to see a speed that fast, I mean, I've seen some fast speeds. That's right up there with some top tier drivers that I've seen in the trucks here at Watkins Glen. So Ryan O'Donoghue is, if he can put the package together and he has that kind of speed, watch out for Ryan O'Donoghue. We've talked week in and week out about how hungry he is for that first win here in the AMA. And then, of course, Matt Sisler, he is constantly moving up the ladder in where his finishing order. He is constantly showing speed at every race that he shows up at. And then we have this new name, Jacob Wilson, who had a great showing last night in the Grand National car at Watkins Glen, and he had a great finish as well. He has a lot of consistency and long run speed. And then we have to call out our friend Wags. Matt Wagner is up there as well, and he is showing good speed and pace tonight. And because he has experience here, we're hoping that maybe Matt will be able to turn that into a good finish. And then the normal people that you always want to keep an eye on: Chuck Sweeting, of course, Justin Osterman, Mr. Excitement, and always I call him my battling Brit, James Hodgson, who is the second fastest in
he was sneaky good yesterday in that Black Magic Studios Grand National race. He was.
I interviewed him after the race last night. I went and talked to him for just a minute after the event, and I asked him because he was running comfortably in the top 5 for the first half of the race, but he just had a couple of miscues later in the event, and it pushed him back in the standings a little bit. And I'm sure that James Hodgson is going to want to come back with a vengeance tonight and prove that last night's good running was not a fluke, and he can finish the story.
You know, and he would be one of my dark horse picks in this race. I mentioned it last night, Sam. James Hodgson and I teamed up in a GTP here for the 6 hours of the Glen, and darn near won the race. We wound up second after one of our co-drivers managed to loop the car in the wet. But James is a very, very handy road driver. He is very, very fast in these trucks, and we're definitely looking forward to seeing what he can do with a fast truck. Matt Sisler is third with no Greg Evans here tonight. Matt Sisler can be tough, and remember last night, Sam, Matt Sisler had a nasty frontal impact in that car. He had to stop for repairs, went to the back. He drove that car all the way back up to the front. And so very impressive run. Yeah. We've got about 25.
And almost won the race.
Yeah, he almost did. You've got another handy endurance car driver here, Kendall Paul. He's fourth. Chad Winstead rounds out the top 5. You mentioned Wagner. That's an IndyCar guy, so we know he knows how to turn right and left.
That's a great qualifying. That's a great speed for him. I'm anxious to see how he does in qualifying.
Yeah, most certainly. So, and then, David Dunwoody, I think these trucks might be a little bit more to his liking. Again, that's a guy that's more used to racing sports cars here than he is stock cars. But, these trucks, as you mentioned yesterday, Sam, they've got a little bit more downforce, a little bit less horsepower. It might be one of those sports car guys that has a good night. Meanwhile, we're set for qualifying. Who should we take the tour with, Sam?
I don't know that there's a bad pick among this crowd tonight to see who we could ride with. I would probably want to jump in a car with James Hodgson, we've not jumped in a qualifying effort since we're speaking about James. I think that he'd be a great start for qualifying, is get in the car with, or get in the truck with him and see how he does, as he's sitting on pit lane right now, getting ready to roll off.
Yeah, there is James. We'll go ahead and get the timing and scoring up. We'll get the driver inputs going. We'll jump. Oh golly, where is it, Sam? I can never find the shot when I want to find it. That's my issue.
Well, James is just now rolling off the pit lane and going up through the S's and just slowly just working his way for his warm-up lap. Some drivers will go extremely slow on their warm-up because they want that first lap to be their hot lap.
Yeah, James Hodgson's doing that. He's 80 miles an hour down the backstretch. And I tell you, fans, you can go a lot faster than that. He is definitely saving the tires. You want to go a little bit before but you don't want to go
on the
too
back
early.
stretch. Yeah, on that. Yeah, you really want on that last shoot. You want to right after the carousels when you really want to start picking up speed so you can get momentum through turn 10 and 11.
Yeah, you most certainly do. Do want to say hello to all the fans we've got in the broadcast, Sam. It's another nice sized crowd for the AMA in the Truck Series here at Watkins Glen. Hello to Mike Rigney, Matt Wagner watching the broadcast when he should be driving. It's going to be a fun. Keep your
night. Hands on the wheels, Wags.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't have
typing into the chat.
I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't have like a Sam. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't have like
voice to text.
No, if he doesn't have like a box in his, if he doesn't have the broadcast in like a box in the car so he can watch it while he's driving. So there's James Hodgson. He's
only Wags.
Well,
only Wags.
Some of the race cars do have, the Cup cars now do have rear view mirror cameras.
Oh yeah.
So I've known people that have put the broadcast over where that camera is, so they can watch it as they drive. Here's James Hodgson. He is. You can hear him playing with the throttle, Sam.
Yes, sir. Again, I think getting onto the throttle too quick on cold tires with this truck is really going to get you into trouble. And of course, with less suspension travel than the Grand National car, hitting those curbings can really disrupt the truck as well.
It can, and there are curbs here that you can take, and there are curbs that you cannot. For example, anytime you see the short,
well said.
Anytime you see the curbs that are very short, that are very narrow, as we lost the signal there momentarily. But anytime you see the curbs that are very narrow and very steep, you do not hit those. So like on the S's here, you do not want to hit those curbs. You want to stay off of those. The curbs that are very wide and kind of flatter and multi-tiered, you can take all of those you want. So a great example of that is down here in the inner loop, Sam.
Right here in the chicane, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get out and we'll see.
They'll split these curbs every single time. They'll just center them and ride right over them.
Right. They absolutely will, but then if you watch James,
this curb in the chicane is extremely flat. It is counter leveled, but it is definitely a lot flatter.
Well, it's been worn down too. But if you see, like for example, look, you see this curb here in turn 10. James Hodgson's not touching that one. He's going to go over it on the exit though, because it's wide and flat. He won't touch the one in turn 11. He'll get right next to it, but he won't touch it.
He may have a off track there in the carousel, so I don't know if this lap is going to count.
Well, we're going to see. James Hodgson comes through the eye clock.
Yes, it did. It actually went just a hair faster.
Yes, he did. 1 minute 13:253 for James Hodgson the time, and he'll be credited right now with third place. Let's see if we can't find Ryan O'Donoghue out here on the course. He's on his second lap, Sam.
Wonder what I really would love to be a fly in his truck and just find out exactly what's going on in Ryan O'Donoghue's head after last night's race. He was so fast at the beginning of the race, and and then he tried a late pitch strategy in the final stage, and it just didn't work to his advantage, and so wound up relegated to a fourth finishing spot.
That was what was so great about that race last night too. You had a ton of different strategies and different things going on. Ryan O'Donohue comes through
Ryan O'Donohue to the top.
To the top of the board. You got it, Sam. Who else is out there? Wags is out there. Let's show Matty Wagner. He's going to come across the line for his first lap in the 17. It'll be a does not count, Sam, and he's going to spin the truck.
And he loses it in turn one. Oh,
yeah, you saw that one coming. Unfortunately, Sam, you saw that one coming with Matty Wags.
And part of that may not just necessarily be the truck. It could be as much the brake bias that he's using that would cause the rear end to come around under heavy braking.
Yeah, just a little bit too much to the back and around Matty Wagner went. The good news, if there is good news out of that, is that Wags does not, he doesn't get, I don't believe he's going to get an X out of that because he never left the course and he never really got all the way sideways, and he's got one more lap. The tires are not going to be very happy with him though, Sam.
Oh, it might be enough heat that he could still turn a good lap on the second time around. We'll just have to wait and see exactly what the extent of that is.
We will.
This should qualify him at least in the 15th position.
Yeah,
less than 15th because other drivers are not even on the racetrack.
Yeah, Chad Winstead's laps did not count. Jeremy Dunwoody, John Hutchins, Pat O'Brien, David Dunwoody, they are not going to take time. So if you can put up a number here, you'll at least get to start 15th out of 21, 22 cars. And that's 7 cars you don't have to pass, right, Sam?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it did not log a time for him on that first lap. So now not only does he need to keep it on the racetrack, but he needs to make sure that keeps his foot in it so that he can get a decent qualifying effort out of it.
Yes, he most certainly does. We've already got bets on when cars are going to be upside down. David Dunwoody said that he was going to do it yesterday and did not oblige. So we'll see. Dunwoody.
Wax has got a whole lot of steering input on that truck. Oh, and he swings way wide off the carousel there.
Well, and you got to be careful because you can get a 1X out there too, Sam. You got to be.
Yes, sir. It can disqualify the run.
Right here too. Right there too, off of turn number 10.
Too early for that. Too early for that, Yon.
I had a production meeting with our boss man last night that lasted.
He does get a good time in.
Yes, he does.
6. Great qualifying effort by Wagner.
Yeah, we do have intelligence coming in from the chat that 8-1 is the steering ratio, Sam. So kind of talk about what that 8-1 steering ratio means.
Some drivers are more comfortable with how much steering wheel input that they can put into the wheel when they're driving, and so by lowering that ratio, whether it's 8-1, 10-1, 12-1, 14-1, it denotes how much steering input that you can put into the wheel going back and forth. Some drivers like a slow steering wheel, so it feels like you're putting more wheel in order to turn the truck, and then other drivers just like a much more responsive to what they're doing, and so they run that number up so that the steering ratio will be quicker.
That's very
It's just a matter of feel for a lot of drivers. And iRacing for the longest time would actually try to convince you that on oval tracks that steering ratio can actually have a big benefactor to tire conservation.
It can. A lot of times too, steering ratio is dictated by your equipment. So you take somebody like myself, who raced in this series last year. When we would compare notes as to what we were doing to the cars, I always had a faster box than everybody else. Lower the number in front of the one, the faster the steering is. Just for the fans out there,
right?
But I would always have a faster steering box because I drive with an IndyCar style rectangle wheel. I don't have the big dish to to have the leverage to even be able to use a slower box. And so some of that can be dictated by equipment as well, Sam.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on all of those points. Simply because for the longest time and for years and years and years, I used a G27 wheel and pedal setup, and when I used that, it was totally different than what I use now with my Sim Magic wheel setup that I have now. And so, just that ratio, the whole dynamic of the ratio has changed for me, and I'm still learning what works best in certain atmospheres and tracks and situations because it is so far different than my new direct drive wheel is so much more different than what I used with my G27.
Yeah, very much so. To the grid we go. Ryan O'Donohue is your pole sitter. 1 minute 13.113. Matt Sisler right on his heels and right to his outside. The three birdies Toyota. He'll go from second. Kendall Paul, he'll be third. He'll be flanked by James Hodgson and Jacob Wilson. Matt Wagner, Chuck Sweeting, Justin Osterman, Paul Witt, and Brandon Wallace will round out your top 10. Newcomer Crash Neon at a minute 15.842. He's going to start 11th next to Jalen Story in 12th. We had some great fun with Jalen Story and his family and that team last week. Hope that continues. Brian Sharp will continue his tree avoidance. He'll go from 13th. Ohm Simkovich will be 14th. Donald Green, Chad Winstead, David Dunwoody. A whole host of cars back here not taking time. Chad Dulabon, John Hutchins, Pat O'Brien, and shotgun on the field, Jeremy Dunwoody. From 16th on back, Sam, they did not take time.
And some of that is preferred by drivers at road courses simply because they want to dictate their own pace at the back of the field. That turn one here, last night I saw some of the best respect for turn one that I've ever seen in a race at Watkins Glen as far as Grand National or / Xfinity cars are concerned. The drivers did a fantastic job of giving each other room in turn one, because turn one at Watkins Glen can be a nightmare among drivers that are getting too greedy or overzealous or just too aggressive and trying to take more than what they deserve in the very beginning of the race. And so I hope that we'll see more of the same tonight and these drivers will settle in. And with that said, some drivers don't want to be in the mix of that in the middle or at the front of the field. They would rather just be at the back of the field and be able to avoid it.
Yeah,
in case of a catastrophe.
I was going to say a lot of those guys. You know, we saw the trials and tribulations of David Dunwoody last night, Sam. You know, it very well could be that you know that he knows he's got some challenges with the truck, and you know I don't want to say you're hoping for the schmozzle going through turn one, but if you're starting back there, it's certainly not going to hurt your chances, right?
That's exactly right. And then you have drivers like Chad Dulabon, also, who is injured. Donald Green knows very well that he doesn't have a lot of speed here tonight. And he's actually even made the comment in chat that you know, he's actually considered maybe starting and parking so that he's not in anyone's way, because he's 8 seconds off the pole speed right now as far as track speed goes. And then other drivers, you know, Jeremy Dunwoody did not have a lot of speed in practice, and he may want to be back there as well. So there's just different reasoning why drivers don't take a qualifying lap.
There is indeed. Watching off the rear bumper of the pace truck as we get ready to turn 21 trucks loose here in the AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series. The pace truck is going to turn on off, Sam. Ryan,
all right, folks, tighten those belts. We're going truck racing at Watkins Glen.
Barney's got the green flag in the air. The race is on, and down into my favorite shot, Sam. Everybody files through. Do they come out the other side? They do, Sam. Everybody makes it through the first corner. Everybody makes it through
Matt
the first corner.
Stifler gets in there, gets into a big jump on Ryan O'Donoghue, takes the lead going through the S's.
Yeah, Matt Sisler is going to have the lead as they head toward the inner loop for the first time. We're going to do this 72 times tonight, 72 around. Sam, stages are at 20 and 40, so same as last night. It's just going to be it's just going to be 10 laps shorter, and that means I don't know that we are going to have to stop in that last stage. So that's something that'll be fairly interesting to everybody involved. Ryan O'Donoghue is looking to see if he can't get that lead back, Sam. He is all over the back of Matt Sisler. Here he goes down the inside through turn 11.
He's not over the back. He's on the inside of Sisler. Now they're going right here down the front straightaway.
Now, as far as corner exits go, people like to talk about the Wall of Champions, Sam. People like to talk about the Wall of Champions in Montreal. I actually think the wall at corner exit on turn 11 at Watkins Glen is more difficult. Because Montreal, it's a chicane, right? At Watkins Glen, you're trying to carry speed through that corner, and it doesn't take much to get the car unsettled. Maybe have a setup issue or a tire issue. You've heated the left rear or the left front, as it were. Most of these turns are right, so everything is opposite, but you've overheated the tires, and the thing, will slip and slide. You'll slam yourself into that wall, Sam, before you know it.
Oh, yeah, that wall will come out. It's almost like the wall at Dover in turn 2. It'll reach out and grab you really quick, especially as the run goes on and building heat in the tires. And most of the time, the setup will get a little tighter. And because of that wall, it comes up very quick.
Yeah, there you see it. And you can hear the delay in the throttle from Ryan O'Donoghue as he continues to give chase to Matt Sisler. I do want to thank everybody in the crowd for joining us. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell to subscribe to the P1 Broadcasting Network, and be notified of all future P1 iRacing broadcasts. You're watching the AdminBoxx 175 at the Glen in the Archway Industrial Coatings AMA Truck Series. You're also watching a really good battle for the lead, Sam.
We're only 3 laps in, but I'm hoping that this is going to be a precursor to what we're going to see for the entire event.
Well, these two did battle all night last night, and what's to say they can't swap a car for a truck and do the same thing again.
We're certainly seeing that the drivers that seem to have a handle on the Grand National car here last night are still drivers that have a handle on these trucks as well, because all 4 of our leaders, well, actually, yeah, the top 4 that we have in the race right now, all of these drivers were really fast last night. And now we see Ryan O'Donoghue go to the inside of Matt Sisler, and in turn 1 he will acquire the lead, and we'll see what Matt Sisler has to say in return, if he can keep pace or if he'll let Ryan O'Donoghue go like he did last night.
I'm going to bet you a shiny new dime, Sam, that Matt Sisler is going to make a run here when they get to the top of the hill. One of the things that fans do not realize, and we mentioned this last night, we talked about it quite a bit, was that this track is very, very undulating. It has a lot of elevation change to it. You don't necessarily see a lot of it on the TV, but you're definitely going to see it because we're going to show it to you, Sam. Right here is about the top of the race course, and you're going down. Right? So when we get back to the start-finish line, we're going to see if we can't get on the nose of Matt Sisler, and we'll kind of point out the elevation because it is vast here, Sam.
Well, no question. And right there through the carousel, if we were racing the boot version of Watkins Glen, that whole boot version, you go down a hill even through that section and then rise back up to that back short chute if you were to use the boot. So even the added length to this racetrack has a lot of undulation to it.
Yeah, and you can see you go down You go down to the very bottom through turn 1, and then as you get back up through the S's, you're climbing the hill. Now we're going to get to the very top of the elevation. That's right as you enter the carousel, or turn number 5. You're going to get to the very top. You see you're still climbing. If you take the left to go use the boot, that's the fork in the road with the cones, you're going to go straight down the hill again. Instead, here, we're going to continue up, or flat. We're still going up a little bit. Turn 10, there's the left-hander.
It's on level there.
Yeah. And then just watch this shot when we get down to turn number 1. It is a lengthy downhill, and you can see it. And that's so difficult and precarious, Sam, when you're braking at that speed, 150, 160 miles an hour, trying to get one of these heavy stock cars to slow down, headed down a hill. That's not a lot of fun.
And for those that may be watching, that was Jeremy Dunwoody that was coming off the pit lane, and he is going extremely slow through the S's. He probably is letting the field go by as much as he can let the field go by.
Yeah, there he is.
For some reason, I mentioned Chuck Sweeting before the event, and Chuck Sweeting is 3 laps down.
Yes, there is
we'll have to go back and see what happened with Chuck.
Yeah, there is the 75. He's going through the chute now.
Did he have a penalty? Was he assessed a penalty?
I don't believe so, Sam. It could have been a connection issue.
No, he pitted. He pitted.
Yeah. Well, and
he pitted on lap 2.
It could have had some damage. It's possible that we missed the contact.
Well, maybe
got it
could
fixed.
very well be.
Well, he was on pit. He was in his box for 3 minutes and 11 seconds. So Chuck Sweeting most assuredly has stopped and affected.
I do see him going off track in the bus stop on lap 1. He went through the bus stop. He would have occurred a slowdown penalty there.
No, he would have had to have
never really. But he's 3 laps down now.
Yeah, he was in pit lane for almost 4 minutes. So he had to have hit something. We're going to go to the battle between Matt Sisler in second. Kendall Paul is going to run third. Kendall Paul 2 over that curb, and it could also be a connection issue, Sam. We're experiencing that too. And when you see all the cars blink like that, and it comes in and out, but you don't hear the audio in the Discord or anything like that do that, that's a sign that that's being experienced by everybody.
We're getting word now that Donald Green has taken his truck behind the wall to the garage area, and he's called it a night. He's punched out for the evening.
Yeah.
Tough break for Donald Green tonight, but he did mention that may be an option for him. He just felt like he was so off pace that he probably would have preferred just to go ahead and park the truck.
And that's a sporting move and a good one for Donald Green. And you don't want to encourage. You don't want to say, oh well, people should start and park, but at the same time, if you're not confident enough, or if you feel like you're going to be in the way. That's the right thing to do, Donald. And so
let's face it, these trucks can be a handful as it is, but then to take this truck and stick it on a road course as fast as Watkins Glen, and if you don't have the experience, or you just don't have the track time that you've been able to be comfortable, like you said, it's just a gentleman's move that you would say, all right, I'm here, I showed up, I'm a participant, but I just would forego the experience tonight.
Well, and
move on to the next race.
And for somebody like Donald Green, who's been a very, very sporting, he's been a very sporting person throughout this, Sam, throughout the league and its events and so on. The last thing he wants to do is get involved in a situation where he gets into an accident and where he gets involved in an accident and takes somebody out and ruins their night too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Donald Green has probably been one of the most vocal and most eager participants here in the AMA. He really loves racing here. He wants to get better week in and week out. His participation is and those are the qualities that you need to get better at racing, in my opinion.
Yes,
you need to have all of those things.
Yeah, I mean, and so kudos to Donald Green, sticking it out, trying to get better, but understanding and knowing,
yes,
understanding.
That's all part of it. All racing respect is all a part of it. Or what they call race etiquette. Do they still call it race etiquette?
Well, they do call it race etiquette, and there are a lot of people that I know of that don't have any of that, but.
No, just go race official races, and you'll see 80% of the field that doesn't have.
They do want to get a little bit further back in the field here, because that's David Dunwoody in the AdminBoxx number 28. He's come forward a little bit. Dunwoody started this race in 17th. He's up to 12th. He is right behind Brandon Wallace in the 90, and so David Dunwoody again. A very handy sports car racer here. He had his problems, his trials, his moments last night. Tonight's a new night, and he's bringing the number 28 truck forward. So good on Andy Dunwoody, or good on David Dunwoody for that. I can't help it. I always want to call him Andy. We all call him Andy. But anyway, he's bringing that truck forward. Another one, Sam, that probably has the best name in the field. That's Crash Neon. He started.
I thought, is that his real name, or is it just something that he snuck by on the iRacing servers?
Well, I can tell you that he's been around for a long time. Crash Neon has been a very effective IndyCar driver on that side of the community for a pretty long time. I've raced with him for a long while, and so it's not. He's not an unfamiliar name, and he doesn't live up to that moniker. He's very good, very smooth. He's had his moments, but haven't we all, right, Sam?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's gotten. Let's be fair too. He's got a lot.
It sounds like honestly, the name sounds like it's from the new Days of Thunder movie or something.
Well, it might be for all we know, but I can tell you this: Crash Neon has the highest I rating in this field tonight.
Well, that says a lot.
And I don't know if Kendall Paul and the administrators here are using oval or if they're using the road I rating for this race. But if it's he's fourth. He's the only driver in here over a 4,000. Well, I take it back. He's the second highest. Chuck Sweeting's at 4,150. Crash Neon's the second highest I rated driver in the field.
In my opinion, those ratings, those are exemplary. Those are exemplary ratings.
Well, I mean,
honestly, it's hard to get your I rating up here in iRacing, especially in official events. It's just difficult.
It is, and then once you get it there, it's very difficult to keep it. I think mine apexed at just a hair over 6, and then I lost about 1,000 in the next 3 months. As you see, David Dunwoody, he is going to go by Crash Neon. Dunwoody had made it past Brandon Wallace, who's also been passed by John Hutchins. So Hutchins is coming forward, and now Hutchins is going to look to the inside of Crash, going toward the inner loop, Sam.
It's a nice little race back there with those drivers right behind Crash. Ooh, he swings wide out there in the S and actually winds up in the wall a little bit.
Yes, he does, and so
I've seen several drivers get extremely loose in the S's tonight. Kendall Paul was one of those drivers. He had a great save earlier in the event, coming up through the S's, and the back of that truck wanted to come around on him.
Yes, he has. There's another guy that we talked about a lot last week. Haven't mentioned him much tonight. He's kind of on an island unto himself, 3 seconds back of Brandon Wallace, and he's got about 20 seconds in hand over Owen Simkovich. And that's Jalen Story in the number 44, and he's given that truck a pretty good ride, Sam. Jalen Story is another one of those. He started Started 12th. He's currently 14th, but he's keeping it on the road. And we kind of learned last night if you're not in that upper top 5 group, and you can just kind of keep it on the road and not make any mistakes, you can get yourself a pretty doggone good finish here, Sam.
Oh, no question. That, in fact, in my early racing career, back in the N2K3 days, it was almost where I dreaded road courses just simply because I didn't have the skill level that I felt like I needed to be competitive. But I convinced myself to go ahead and run those races, and I wanted to race my own race. I wanted to make sure that I kept the car clean, kept it on the racetrack, as few incident points as possible, and keep the fenders on it and just finish ahead, allow myself to finish when other drivers couldn't finish. And that always helped me learn consistency and pay close attention to marks. It gave me an opportunity to really learn the more races that I ran in that regard.
Yeah, no, 100%, Sam. We're looking at Jalen's story. Let's see if we can't find. There's Owen Simkovich. He's running along in 15th, and so there's Owen. He's about a minute behind here, but again, keeping the fenders on it, keeping it moving in the right direction.
There's one thing that you won't say very often, Mark. You will not say it very often, and you probably won't see it very often, but Chad Doulabon just went a lap down.
Yeah, I was about to say that. And Brian Sharp is not too far from going a lap down either. He's got Ryan O'Donohue just to his backside, but that's Brian Sharp. He's in what I would describe as a Ricky Craven throwback this evening. So there's Brian Sharp, and he may need one of those buds before the end of this thing. With his
Watch
rough
the closing speed with Ryan O'Donohue here. Oh my heavens!
Yeah,
wow, that's fast.
And that's huge avoidance there too, and that's going to set up this. They've got this whole deal bottled up. Kendall Paul and James Hodgson are now 3rd and 4th, and those two lap trucks, they managed to get Kendall Paul right to the nose of James Hodgson. And Matt Wagner is lurking back there, not quite in the picture, but he's about 3.5 seconds back in 5th. And so there's some good action going on here, Sam.
Oh, no question. Matt's actually in a very good spot because he's got a little cushion between he and the trucks in front of him, as well as the trucks behind him. And I mentioned last night how James Hodgson was in like that little rocking chair position, and he wasn't being pressured. He could run his own race, and Wagner's had some tough races here in the AMA Truck Series, and so he's probably really happy that he's got that kind of levity right now, that he can just work on his racecraft, make sure he hits his spots, and he's not getting pressured or feel like he has to overtake someone in front of him either. So in my opinion, it's really a good place to be in here at Watkins Glen.
It is on any road course, and we kind of saw last night an incident with Brian Sharp where you can get target fixation on the car in front of you, and it, especially going down the hill into turn number 1 and going into this hard braking zone here in the inner loop, where you can almost follow a truck off the course, and it can be a bad deal for you. Here's Matt Wagner. We're on board with him, and you were mentioning that closing speed. Watch how quickly he gets up on Brian Sharp here.
Oh, it's huge how the speed differential for these leaders catching these back markers.
It is indeed, and Sharp pulls over. He does the right thing. He'll pull over and let Matt Wagner go. We are 17 laps complete. There will be a stage caution at 20. Right now, Jalen Story is in the lucky dog spot, but that's about to be moved along to Owen Simkovich. Jalen Story just jumped into the pit lane. Owen Simkovich is just about to go a lap down. And Jalen Story just hit pit lane, which means that Brian Sharp is currently the lucky dog, and so that's something we do want to keep our eye on, Sam.
Well, last night we actually saw a couple of drivers who really wanted to try the pit strategy with the stage brakes and things in the Grand National Series. I didn't think that that would really be something that someone would do tonight in the trucks, but anything's possible, especially if drivers are wanting to make up track position. Um, these front runners are clearly the class of the field. Ryan O'Donohue is consistently just turning great lap after great lap. Matt Sisler has been able to even out that space just under 4 seconds. But James Hodgson, Kendall Paul, they have stuck together. Matt Wagner's in his own little bubble. And then 6th, 7th, and 8th place are all battling among themselves with Jacob Wilson, Chad Winstead.
They're not battling, Sam. They're trying to crash. I just cut to him.
Mr. Excitement is included in that.
I just cut to that battle. They were temporarily 4 wide. With Jacob Wilson leading Chad Winstead. Justin Osterman is in 8th, and then you've got a little bit further back is Paul Witt. But this and the battle for 3rd between James Hodgson and Kendall Paul, probably the best one on the racetrack. I did see a tap from Osterman, so we don't know if that's the I'm here, or if it's the I'm coming through, or if it's the you are now moved tap. So we'll see which one Osterman gives next. Look at how much.
Osterman is. Or no, that's Jacob Wilson. Jacob Wilson was really strong last night.
Yes, he was. He ran what, 4th?
And his long run speed was just as good as the front runners because he was closing in on some of the cars that were in front of him last night. So. And we know what Chad Winstead is capable of. He's a great racer, and then Mr. Excitement, he has always got the metal, the pedal to the metal, so to speak, in these trucks.
Whoa, Chad! Chad Winstead.
Handful.
That was more than a handful, Sam. That was more than a handful. That was full opposite lock, trying not to knock down that wall. We've got some smoke off in the runoff, and that means that somebody has been off in turn number 1. No harm, no foul. Now Justin Osterman slings the back of his Ford loose.
Pit lane is closed. The administration has closed pits. Pat O'Brien. Actually, Pat O'Brien was in the server, but he was not racing. I think Pat O'Brien was a spotter.
No, Pat O'Brien did race. He ran 9 laps, and he has pulled over and shut it off. So Pat O'Brien will be credited with 20th. Meanwhile, this is the best race on the track.
Pat Winstead using every bit of the racetrack.
Yes, he is, and that's something too here. If you're, you watch, some of the front runners, for example, O'Donohue, Sisler, Hodgson. James Hodgson has got past Kendall Paul now. You watch some of these front runners, it almost looks boring to watch them. The trucks are very much under control, right, Sam? They're not, they're not slinging them sideways.
That's all you ask right now.
Well, but you come a little bit further back in the field, and you can see guys
way out in front there.
That is, I believe,
Owen Simkovich. Actually, he went way off in the runoff area in turn 1, and now he's going to be in front of this highly contested 6th spot here.
Oh boy!
Wilson's trying to decide. Oh no, he's speeding.
No, we got a huge crash
coming out of the Aston. Oh no, Owen! Oh, Jacob Wilson is flipping, going down the short chute. Unbelievable.
Well, this isn't done yet. We've got cars racing through here. That's Dulabon, Jeremy Dunwoody. Simkovich gets his truck righted. Now Chad Winstead.
Cautions are on. Cautions are not on for this race.
Well,
and so now these drivers have got to get it corrected and get back going as fast as they can.
Well, the good news, if there is good news, Sam, is the stage break is here.
We're about to the stage break, yeah.
Yeah, the stage break is here anyway. But that was a wild ride, and we're gonna get back and
Simkovich just got to the top of the hill and just lost the back of the truck, and then when he was trying to catch it, he came right across the nose of Wilson. Wilson goes careening, rolling down and then of course Winstead gets caught in that as well. That might be the end of Jacob Wilson's night.
Well, not necessarily. He's He
We're
didn't.
going to find out, aren't we?
He did. He did go. Well, he didn't go all the
Caution
way
is
over.
out. Caution is out.
He never went all the way over, Sam. He got on the side, but I don't think he got all the way over. And he continued on in seventh. He actually got going in much better shape than Winstead did. But caution is out.
Well, Winstead was completely turned sideways, and he had to back up and then reorient the truck to get it going in the right direction.
Now I will say this: Jacob Wilson has flattened the side of the left side of that 58, so he's going to need some repair. We'll look for him to affect that.
He just plays Moses and splits the Red Sea right there.
So a wild-looking crash here, coming to get the stage break caution as trucks were racing for what would have been the sixth spot. The beneficiary of all that was Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman. He didn't hit anything. He didn't cause anything, and he gets to move up 2 spots, so he'll be sixth. Ryan O'Donohue is your stage leader, and that's where we sit, 22 of 72 laps complete here at the AdminBoxx 175 at the Glen.
The pace truck is headed toward the bus stop, and there are still trucks coming through turns 10 and 11. They haven't even hit the front stretch yet, so it's going to take them a little bit just to catch the field.
It will, and we had some of those cars that were a minute behind. I mean, they're going to have to run the first caution lap here at full song just to catch back up so that they can get in the pit lane. And a lot of those trucks do need to visit the pit lane due to damage, and so they want to get back up as quick as they can. Do want to thank Archway Industrial Coatings for their sponsorship of the AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series. If you're in need of a new floor in St. Louis, they do that epoxy urethane thing, Sam. It's pretty neat stuff. They do industrial, commercial, restaurant, retail, even concrete repair at your house. You have a garage. You got that epoxy stuff on the floor in your garage, Sam?
I do not have that. I have a hard acrylic that I have on my garage floor. Actually, I did not go with the epoxy.
We did that in our basement, and I'm thinking about, my wife's about ready to move my rig and desk and workspace down into the basement. But if you're in St. Louis, give Archway a call if you're looking for something like that. Commercial, restaurant, retail, concrete repair at home. Get ready to floor it with Archway. That's archwaycoatings.com as we watch everybody stream down the pit lane, led by this man, Ryan O'Donohue. And the great news for O'Donohue and Sizzler, they don't have any damage to fix yet, Sam. Yet.
I love how you qualify that already.
They have no damage yet, right?
Well, there is no driver has a meatball flag, so that's encouraging.
It most certainly is.
Jacob Wilson may still come out of this with a. Well, we found out that the winner of last night's event, Greg Evans, was driving a truck with 4 minutes of optional damage that still needed to be fixed on that car, and so, the quality of the driver may be able to still drive an injured race truck around the facility and have a good finish.
He may be. Now, if you're Chad Winstead, Jacob Wilson, we're going to show him sitting on pit road. If you're Jacob Wilson, you might as well get it fixed. Chad Winstead, you got put to the back of the lead lap anyway. You might as well, right? There's no reason not to. They're not losing anything. I think the thing with Greg Evans last night was he was up toward the front and he didn't want to lose the track position.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Story does stay out. He will get the wave around here. So wave around for Jalen Story. He has already pitted. He pitted before the pits were closed. He's got 6 laps on those tires. So kind of a similar strategy, Sam, to last night, where we saw guys doing that, where they would pit early. In Story's case, he kind of made his own lucky dog. He was not the lucky dog recipient. He did kind of make his own.
He kind of created his own, yeah.
Yeah, he made his own. Now, Jacob Wilson's going to need to get off a pit lane. The pace truck is getting ready to round turn 11.
I'm telling you, that was a whole lot going on with that truck. It'd be hard to.
Well, he never had the meatball, so
that,
he should be able to.
No, he didn't, which means that, he may not have had. Oh, there he goes. He's going off pit lane right now.
Yeah, so he got a minute 52 in the box for Jacob Wilson rather. So that truck has he's given it significant repair. It's clearly going to need more. The left front fender is more or less half there, Sam.
Trying to get a good look at it myself.
It's been operated upon.
Yeah, the front grill area is crashed in. The left fender's missing, of course, like you said, and there could be quite a bit of still optional damage. The tailgate is smashed in considerably. The rear spoiler is moved up. So we're going to find out exactly how good a driver Jacob Wilson is as he's having to manhandle a mangled truck here.
Well, the good news for the
Glen, but he's got a motor under him, and from what I see from the cockpit, it doesn't look like the motor's hurting too much.
And that's the thing for that revved up racing Chevy is, if you're in a position like he's in right here, this is actually probably a blessing that he stayed in the pit lane that long, because he basically gets to make 2 free hot laps. He's going to be able to assess without anybody around him what that truck is going to do when it does go green. So he's going to know what he's got in the poker game here before it really gets started, which is a huge advantage. He still, though, has not caught the back of this field yet. Where is he, Sam? We're on board with Jacob Wilson. He still has not caught.
He's only going through the carousel right now. He's still got a lot of ground to make up to this field.
They're getting ready.
They're going into turn 10, 11, so he'll catch them.
Yeah, and
he will get to the field before they take the green.
He wants to do that too, because if you can catch.
Yeah, if he doesn't want to lose, the back end of this field. He wants to be able to see if he can manage to keep up with these trucks. As Ryan O'Donohue takes a big jump here on the start. In fact, a big jump is an understatement, as Ryan O'Donohue and look at the deep dive that James Hodgson does on the inside of Matt Stisler here. The battling Brit is wanting to come in here and flex the muscle among these other drivers in the front 2 positions.
Yeah, James Hodgson does not get the spot. Matt Stisler is going to pull back in front of him as they head up.
Oh, look how loose he is! Paul avoids him and actually gets a little loose himself. Door to door, Matt Wagner and Justin Osterman.
Whoa, Wags is going to spin off down the.
Oh no!
Down the straightaway, he got off the nose of Justin Osterman, and Matty Wagner takes a ride down the Armco.
Oh, and that's going to be.
That's
going to have Wags stewing.
Yeah, he's going to be a little grouchy. If I know that.
I think that there may be a little bit of a boiling point in that 17 truck. He hit that wall, that outside retaining wall, incredibly hard with the nose of the truck.
Yes, he did.
He really did hit it hard.
And I'm trying to find a good angle on it, Sam. But Wags is on the inside. I'll let the fans.
I think Osterman may have thought that Wagner maybe would have started his entry a little sooner. But the angle that Wags has, he probably was a little bit more straight of an angle than what Osterman would have had.
I don't know. He's back underway. It does not appear as though the truck is severely damaged. And so Matt Wagner, he's back underway. He's back under power. He's in 13th. Again, it doesn't appear as though it's hurt too badly. There's probably a bit of red underneath that helmet, though, Sam, inside that 17.
They're going to have to get the drill when he goes in for his next pit stop just to relieve some of the pressure.
Well, he might have to have a DeWalt Sawzall get after his truck as well. But he's catching, he's catching back up with Jacob Wilson and John Hutchins in this group. Meanwhile, the fight at the front remains, and it's gained one. Ryan O'Donohue is your leader. Matt Sizzler in the Three Birdies machine is second. James Hodgson third, and then you've got Kendall Paul in fourth, and they are under a second and a half, fourth to first, which here at Watkins Glen, Sam, that's not all that much.
No, it's not. Things can change very quickly, and drivers can change their approach to laps. They can drive in deeper with their closing speed on entry, or they could back it up a little bit and get a little bit better bite off of the corners so that they can catch them quicker. So anything's possible with as close as the front four trucks are. They're all equally fast, but anything can happen in an instant at this racetrack, as we just found out just a little while ago.
Yeah, most certainly can. The good news for Wagner and also for Jacob Wilson is about 5 seconds off the pace in that truck, and he just got passed by both Hutchins and Wagner. But the good news for Jacob Wilson is that this is the shortest of the stages. There are only 12 laps left here in the stage. Sam.
Right. Yeah, and I think that may be why you're seeing this front quartet of trucks that are staying a little bit closer together, is that they may be pushing the issue a little bit harder to see what the tire wear may look like. These stages are great learning experiences to see exactly what you can get out of the truck. However, Ryan O'Donohue he's mad fast. He is mad fast here tonight, and I really thought last night was going to be an opportunity for him to flex some of that speed. It didn't equate to a win for him, especially with late race strategy. But tonight, it's equally as an opportunity for him to get that first AMA win as any time that he's had. So we're looking forward to see how it all unfolds in the final stage as well as this one.
Yes, we are, Sam. And there's Ryan O'Donohue leading the train. Chad Winstead just got past David Dunwoody. That is the battle for second. We just saw Winstead around and pretty severely damaged not too long ago. He must have got. Point, Mark. He must have. He was on pit lane 59 seconds. So my guess is that he just smacks the wall coming onto the main straight. My guess is that Chad Winstead got everything fixed. That brush of the wall is going to give Dunwoody a chance to go to the bottom. Dunwoody will think better of it, and then right behind him, Paul Witt nearly runs over the back of Dunwoody, and that's the truck that we haven't talked about is Paul Witt. Witt up near the front. That's a long time AMA stalwart, and he's giving it a pretty good ride here, running in eighth. Not a road course specialist, but a doggone good driver, Paul Witt.
Oh yeah, he's showed a lot of speed at some of the races that we've had this year in the AMA Archway Industrial Truck Series. Paul Witt is no pushover by any stretch of the imagination, and so some tracks fit drivers' racing style better than others, but Paul Witt he's a top 10 driver right now, and I believe that he could be a top 10 driver for the rest of the night. So let's just see how well he can hold that position and have a good finish as we continue to see Ryan O'Donohue he just turned a sub 113 lap.
And there he is.
112.946.
That's bad. 947.
That's bad fast.
Yeah, that's Matt Sizzler's the only other there are three drivers that have been in the 112s. O'Donohue, minute 12, 947. Matt Sizzler, and that was his last lap, by the way. Matt Sizzler has a 112, 958 to his credit. James Hodgson, 112, 969. Nobody else.
Wow.
Nobody else. Kendall Paul, 113, 006. And so I suppose he's kind of close and maybe has it in him, but these top four are just blitzing this field now. Go back and check out.
They really are.
Go back and check out the vote. Whoa, Kendall Paul gets himself out of that runoff area and just about brings his truck to grief. But we'll get the camera back here on James Hodgson, Kendall Paul, Matt Sisler. Ryan O'Donohue is starting to run away and hide. He stretched that out now to about 1.9 seconds, Sam.
Oh, there's no question. He actually got to a 4-second lead in the first stage at one point. So we could see that Ryan O'Donohue really doesn't want to mess with anybody. He's wanting to take his ball and go home tonight.
Well,
and so it really does put up a good race for those three drivers that are behind him, with Matt Sisler, James Hodgson, and of course Kendall Paul. If these three drivers can continue to stay together, we can see something really materialize among these drivers. And then actually behind them, there's still a fight between David Dunwoody and Paul Witt, and then
Brandon Wallace is involved in that a little bit.
Yeah, he's not too far behind that group. Yeah.
No, he's not. Chad Winstead just had a problem. He gave up positions to Dunwoody, Witt, and Wallace. He just had a problem going. Would have been through the inner loop.
Yeah.
So Winstead with a bit of an issue. He'll fall in ninth. But this is the best battle on the racetrack by far, Sam.
James Hodgson, can he get it slowed down? Wow, I thought for sure he was going to get into the back of Sisler there.
Jacob Wilson has just reported in. He said he's going to call in a night. There's just too much damage to be competitive, and that's a shame on that number 58 because he was very fast. Yeah.
Jacob, man, we've really bragged on you the last two nights. What befell you tonight is not indicative of what you're capable of, and so we're really sorry for the trouble that you had. But you certainly have shown a lot of talent and a lot of ability and a lot of speed. So we look forward to seeing you back.
We most certainly do, Sam. Watching this battle, this is Sisler in second, Hodgson third, Kendall Paul is fourth. Now, James Hodgson has just about slid, Sam, back into the clutches of Kendall Paul. Matt Sisler has started to get away a little bit. While they do that...
He doesn't have any brake left after driving in on the portal.
And that's...
I don't know how he got it stopped. I really don't know how he got it stopped.
And that's
his call of the night. He's taking his truck into the garage.
Yeah, Chuck Sweeting has as well. I kind of wanted to... Brian Sharp has called it an evening as well. I did kind of want to ask, and anybody out there that knows this, and maybe you know this or don't, I'm used to carbon fiber brakes. I think I've driven
a different feel.
Well, it is. But the nice thing about carbon fiber brakes, Sam, the carbon brakes we use in Indy cars and prototypes, they don't fade. I wonder, do the steel brakes that they use in the stock cars fade in the sim?
My personal experience is that they do not fade, but the more this is my experience, but the more brake that you use, the more tire wear that you have.
Gotcha. So
that's my experience.
Gotcha. So essentially,
you don't have brake fade, but you do have tire usage.
Gotcha. So there is a penalty. It's just expressed in a different way.
Correct. Yeah. I don't know that iRacing could necessarily mimic exactly what brake fade could do with steel rotors like what they use here in these particular series, and so they offset that by tire usage.
Right. It's tire heat, tire usage. I gotcha. Mm-hmm. That makes sense, Sam. I was just curious. Like I said, I'm used to carbon brakes. Yeah,
because you will not get a soft pedal feel from those kind of brakes. You just will not do that in these cars. But you will feel the effects of the tire having more wear to it because of the heat cycle on the brakes.
Gotcha.
And we do know that they monitor brake usage and heat in these cars because you can actually see them glow in the race. If there's too much brake used, you can actually see the rotors glowing.
You can. We saw some of that yesterday. It's also a tool that I've used in the past on short tracks and such, Sam. Go spectate a race at Bristol. If you're having trouble with tire wear, go spectate a top split race at Bristol and see which rotors are glowing. Mm-hmm. I've done that for certain sure. If I can't figure...
I have watched that going and watching some of the faster cars in my split at Daytona, I did the same thing at the 24 Hours of Spa this year, just to watch to see if I could get that kind of input from other drivers that were racing on those tracks, so that I can understand what they were doing in certain locations on the track.
Now, speaking of the 24 Hours of Spa, there's we're watching James Hodgson. He's going to
James
swing.
Hodgson dives on the inside of Matt Sisler. They're door to door in one. Oh, and Sisler goes wide. James Hodgson gives him plenty.
Here
of
comes
room
Kendall
there.
Paul. Now they're 3 wide. Very briefly.
Well, Hodgson just really doled out a whole lot of respect right there. He did not want to take out Max Sisler, and so he just really got out of the throttle, and that allowed Kendall Paul. And now Kendall Paul's going to do the twofer here, because he's going to pull up beside Sisler on the chute, and now they're going into the. But there's a lap car ahead. That's Jeremy Dunwoody. They're going to have to play this out. Sisler backs out, and now they'll go single file coming into the carousel.
And there goes Jeremy Dunwoody. He's going to do the right thing and get out of the way. Of course, that's a corporate teammate to Kendall Paul and James Hodgson. And so, Dunwoody, of course, he's gonna get out of the way for the cars that he's racing with.
Apologizing to the server, to Matt. Just he went in really hot into that turn one, trying to make up that spot, and so he did kind of wash up the racetrack and slowed both their momentums down. But it didn't. Neither truck is worse for wear, but they both lost the position to Kendall Paul.
Yes, they have indeed. There's the 3 birdies machine of Matt Sisler, very familiar. Do want to point out that Ryan O'Donoghue is leading this race. We don't want to take any credit away from Ryan O'Donoghue. He has pulled away to a 6-second advantage, and so in the interest of keeping our audience entertained, we're rather than show him demolish everybody, and we'll get to that. But this has been a superlative race for 2nd through 4th. Kendall Paul is now 2nd, Matt Sisler 3rd, James Hodgson 4th. Paul Witt has moved up to 5th momentarily.
Paul Witt.
Chad Winstead just passed him. There have been some confrontations within this group, but Winstead has made it back to 5th, Witt now 6th, Wallace 7th, Mr. Excitement Justin Osterman is 8th, Crash Neon is 9th, David Dunwoody is 10th. Back to the Paul Sisler Hodgson battle we go, Sam.
And now I've just gone back through the field as you were calling out the lineup to see what was going on, and it's just really fun to watch David Dunwoody. Really, just he's doing everything in his power to catch Crash Neon here. From they're running in 9th and 10th place, and then just ahead of them, of course, is Justin Osterman, and he's only a few. Oh, and he gets really loose in turn 1, but he's only a few truck lengths off the back of Brandon Wallace, who has got a great run going tonight as well. But just kudos to Paul Witt. Chad Winstead just had trouble. You called out that he had trouble and lost several spots a little while ago. And despite the incident that happened coming out of the S's earlier, right before the stage break, that young man has come back up through the field, and he is in 5th spot and taking names.
Yes, he is. Justin Osterman just slid past Brandon Wallace going into the inner loop as we're watching Dunwoody, and you're watching Dunwoody and Crash Neon. So that's something that we're going to want to follow because Justin Osterman is much quicker than Paul Witt in front of him. He's also much quicker than Chad Winstead. He's running about the same times as Hodgson, Sisler, and Paul. And so keep an eye on Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman. If he cannot melt the tires on that 53, he might be one of the fastest trucks.
Chad Winstead hit the pit lane. Chad Winstead's on pit lane.
Yeah, that's going to be a strategy call.
Yeah, no question.
It's a strategy call.
I think that's going to be for a track position there.
Yeah, so Chad Winstead is going to take the gambit. He's going to pit the 2 laps early. He'll come out and baby his car around, right?
And he is 30 seconds off the pace. And the lap times that Ryan O'Donoghue is turning, he may go a lap down. But he would probably be, oh my heavens, in the lucky dog position.
Well, that doesn't help you if you're the lucky dog, though. That doesn't help because then you just go to the tail end of the longest line and you're on old tires. Here's Ryan O'Donoghue. He is set to come around. That's turn 11. That's the final turn on the course. And Chad Winstead is, okay, he's off the pit lane and he is in the S's. And so Chad Winstead is going to maintain his position on the lead lap fairly handily here. We're going to get back to Justin Osterman, who has now caught Paul Witt, and these two are going to have at it one more time, Sam.
Well, we already know that Osterman wants every position that he can get, and so we're going to see exactly how Paul Witt is a crafty racer, and he'll probably race for this spot. I don't know that he'll roll over for anybody.
I wouldn't suspect that he would, Sam. But it's Osterman is so much quicker. He was a second quicker the last lap than Paul Witt. So it's only going to be a matter of time. It's just going to be, is it?
This rut coming up through the S's, yeah, he'll should be able to make this pass going into the bus stop.
Right. I was going to say it's not a matter of if. It's not a matter of if or even when. It's a matter of if it's clean. And Justin Osterman does make it cleanly through on Paul Witt, and he will set off in pursuit of Kendall Paul. So move Osterman to fifth, Kendall Paul fourth. James Hodgson is third. Matt Sisler has gone back to second, and Kendall Paul has to have experienced some sort of an issue because he's gone from second to fourth. And so that battle is as it was, Sam, with Kendall Paul now 10 seconds off the pace. Let's see what we've got. Ooh! Let's have one more.
Yeah, let's go back and look. I'm just looking back at myself to find out exactly what played out here with Kendall Paul. It was in the carousel. He comes off of the bus stop, and then he goes in, and once he's in the carousel, he just loses the back of the truck, and then he's just spending the rest of the time through there just trying to correct it, and then he gets completely turned around. I know Matt Sisler had said in the survey he was concerned that he had touched Kendall Paul, but there was so much room between those two trucks. I don't think there was no contact whatsoever. It was just, I had mentioned earlier in the broadcast, at the beginning of the broadcast, that this is a very precarious area for these trucks because the back of the truck can get a little bit loose in the center or off, and so you have to be really careful, especially on older tires, to make sure that something like that doesn't happen. Kendall Paul has such a big gap between he and Justin Osterman that he probably wasn't in too much jeopardy of losing that spot once he got it corrected.
No, he didn't. There's still about 5 seconds between those two, although Kendall Paul has lost 10 seconds to this battle. It's Matt Sisler leading James Hodgson in third, and we're going to talk to James Hodgson under the next caution, Sam, because
all right, man, caution is out.
Well, there it is.
Which is out right now. Yeah, right now.
There it is. So we're going to talk to him after pit stops. We'll pull James Hodgson up here and pick his brain as to what he thinks about the racing action here at Watkins Glen tonight. Do want to thank everybody in the audience. We have another big one, Sam. Thank you so much from the AMA P1 Broadcasting. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, and subscribe to the P1 Broadcasting Network so that you can be notified of all future iRacing broadcasts. Do also want to thank Archway Industrial Coatings. They're a St. Louis-based floor company that is the title sponsor of the series. They make it all possible. They do epoxy and urethane flooring solutions that withstand the test of time, all while meeting their customers' installation schedules and budgets. They're committed to doing the highest quality work at the lowest possible cost every time. Whether you're looking for industrial, commercial, restaurant, or retail, or concrete repair at home, you found the perfect partner to get the job done now. Get ready to floor it with Archway, and that's archwaycoatings.com. We are working the second stage break, Sam. Everybody's going to come to pit road. This man right here, Chad Winstead, is going to be the leader. He stopped just before the pits closed. And then, as we saw last night, a whole bunch of fun is going to break loose.
Get the party favors out, let the doves fly and the balloons go. It could get really interesting in the party in this last stage. And I'm certainly expecting anything and everything that could happen, especially going into turn one.
We are not going to allow Sam to hose me down with silly string. That's where I draw the line.
Well, that leaves the door open for hitting you like a pinata. That works for me. I'll keep the silly string out.
Oh,
If we
dear.
can just
Well, I tell you what, if I break apart, I'm probably not full of candy, right?
we may not want the content.
Yeah.
You're exactly right.
We used Murphy for a pinata, and all we got was an empty 6-pack of Miller High Life.
And a whole lot of cigar smoke.
Yeah, that's right. Ryan O'Donohue is the leader behind the pace truck here. He is going to get. He's about ready.
I don't think I've ever hit a pinata and it just go poof.
But did it start spraying champagne? That was the question.
Well, if you call Bush Light champagne, I guess so.
Anyway, Ryan O'Donohue is going to bring it down pit road,
We've
and
lost
then
the broadcast. Sorry, folks.
we've lost our train of thought. Sam is envisioning using me for a pinata. If that tells you about our friendship at this moment.
I'm just ready for the party. Just ready for the party.
We're going to have one of those at the Sim Gaming Expo in Chicago here in just a few weeks.
That's
Sam.
exactly right. Yeah, that's exciting. There's just a lot of folks that we both are familiar with are going to be out there, and they're going to be not just attendees but participants.
Yeah,
and so that's really exciting to know exactly all the things that are going to be happening at the Sim Game.
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about in the third race in the third stage, because P1 has a big part in that. We've got some broadcasts that we're doing tomorrow. Myself and Andrew Wood. There are a couple of different challenge series that are happening. There's an esports stadium down there. So we're gonna talk about that. But right now, that's not what I want to talk about. You know what I want to do? We need to get
James Hodgson.
We need to get James Hodgson up here. There he is, and we're gonna get him on the radio. Let's see. James Hodgson. He's in Dark Horse 2, and James, you've got Murph and you've got Sam Crow in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Good evening. I do. How are you?
You know, we're not doing too bad. Good looking paint job on the forward-facing 88 tonight, James. So the first question is, have you run across any Muppets out there this evening?
Only me for trying to take it on the inside with Matt Sisler at turn 1 when really I had no reason to do that. So that was just my impatience. So my apologies again. Back to Matt.
Indeed. So you are now fourth. Chad Winstead's out there on 2 green flag lap old tires. He's leading the thing. You got anything for O'Donohue, or do you think that's it's going to be a battle for second?
Ryan seems to be in a class act of his own right now, and I really think at this point it's about how you treat the car, how you treat the tires, and just because it's obviously an extra 9 laps on top of what we've done for the first stage. So, yeah, time will tell. He was good last night, so we'll see. Hey, at least tonight I actually made my pit stop and didn't have to reverse back in and lose a bunch of spots. So I'll take it.
That's very true. Well, we're going to wish you the best of luck. We're going to drop you back in. We're going to drop you back in with the boys. Avoid the Volkswagens. Bring that thing home. You hear?
Will do. Hopefully, I will speak to you later.
I'm rooting for you, James. Go get them.
Thanks, Sam. Take care, boys.
Always nice to talk to. Always nice to talk to the competitors when we have the chance and when opportunity permits. I know that we had talked about doing that a lot more, Sam, in the beginning. But when you get to a short track, you don't really have time to talk to people under yellow, and I don't want to cut into.
Yeah, the time is not conducive to that. Yeah.
No, but if you're at a road course or a super speedway, you can pull somebody up here and have a chat with them very briefly and not really mess anything up once pit stops have taken place. So happy to have James up in the booth, and hopefully we'll get to talk to him one more time. It's Winstead and O'Donohue on the front row. Winstead, remember, is credited with 6 laps. He is credited with 6 lap old tires, Sam. 6 lap old tires. But four of those are under
four
yellow.
of those are under caution, of course. Yeah.
4 of those are under yellow.
I am a little curious, Mark, since you keep those stats, but I am a little curious about how long Wags was in his pit stall to repair the damage that he received.
Matt Wagner was in his pit stall for 11 hours, 49 minutes, and 18 seconds, according to Matt Wagner.
I didn't say how long he was in his feelings after all that happened. I asked how long he was actually in
minute
his pit stall.
34.90, so not quite a full.
There we go.
Yeah, minute 34.90. We know that.
Well, he had actually raced himself all the way back up to 10th place, and so now he's in 12th. But if he's got some of this damage fixed, and Matt qualified well, we could see Matt Wagner work if the truck is conducive to speed, he should be able to work his way back up through the field. So let's see how it goes.
You know, I happen to think he's got a shot at a top 5. He certainly does.
I don't question that if the truck is not damaged too much. And now we're going back under green, and Chad Winstead gets a good jump here, and Ryan O'Donohue is going to follow him into turn 1. Matt Sisler is going to try and take advantage of this and get on the inside of Ryan O'Donohue, and they will go through turn 1 door to door heading into the S's. We'll see if one of these drivers is going to relinquish or they're going to try and race it through. Nope, Ryan O'Donohue decides to fall in line. And everyone clears turn 1 and this particular part of the race cleanly.
That battle is not over, Sam. Not by a long shot. You see the trucks kicking up the grass. That's David Dunwoody further back in the field. Matt Wagner all the way on the inside.
Whoa. It's hard to drive. It's hard to hit your brakes at the right time when all you see is red.
Well, and he definitely sees red. Plus, he's got him 3 wide in front of him. Poor Matt Wagner. He's trying to navigate the minefield. We'll jump on board with him as he works to the inside of Brandon Wallace. This would be for 10th. This is not the best of passing spots, Sam. Although I think
no, it's not.
I think Brandon Wallace saw the writing on the wall there.
Is that Osterman that we swung wide out there?
That is Justin Osterman that swung wide.
Oh, now we got a battle for second here. James Hodgson and Ryan O'Donohue get on the inside of Matt Sisler.
And there they go. O'Donohue is going to make it in front of James Hodgson.
He'll make that pass. Yep.
So move O'Donohue.
Sisler maybe saving tire here. He knows he's got to run an extra 9 or 10 laps than the other previous stages. So he may be wanting to run a little slower pace.
Well, and that was the rub last night, wasn't it? That
it sure was.
You know, that we thought that guys were going to be about 10 laps short, and there was going to be an extra pit stop for fuel. Here, the race is 10 laps shorter, Sam. So, with it being 10 laps shorter, I don't think we're stopping again. Do you?
I really don't suspect that would be the case myself.
Right, so we're going to have to go the remainder of the run here, and we've got 27 coming to get 26 laps to go. Chad Winstead is your leader. He's pulled out to about a 2.2 second lead over Ryan O'Donohue and James Hodgson. Sisler 4th, Kendall Paul is 5th, and Matt Wagner and Justin Osterman are together again, Sam.
And now Kendall Paul.
Whoa! Wagner outbroke himself. Matt Wagner outbroke himself.
He even calls it out in the server. He said I broke myself.
Yeah, he saw red, Sam, and didn't quite get that truck load down in time.
And he probably just missed his braking point there, which is pretty obvious.
Well, and that's easy to do, right? I talk about target fixation in these races. You know, that's easy to do.
Sir.
You know, easy to do. You get fixed on the car in front of you, the car beside you, and you're not paying attention to whatever your braking marker is, and it's really easy to miss that mark and do what Matt Wagner just did. And unfortunately for Matty Wags, he's going to drop back to 13th. He'd worked it up to 7th. He's going to drop all the way back to 13th and have to start that long climb one more time. We're looking at James Hodgson running third. O'Donohue has now separated from that group, and he is starting to run down Chad Winstead. We'll jump on board with Ryan O'Donohue here.
as fast as Matt Sisler has been for the majority of this race, and he's fallen back to 5th position, I just can't help but feel that maybe Matt has decided to run a little slower pace to see if he'll have a little bit more tire.
Yeah, I mean he's one of that crew that that does have the ultimate speed. The minute 12:9:58 time is just a touch of the watch slower than Ryan O'Donoghue's fast lap, and so just kind of think about that. We're watching from O'Donoghue. He was 7/10 quicker than Chad Winstead that last time through, Sam.
Well, considering how many laps that we still have left in this race, I mean, he probably wants to just run a consistent lap times. He knows that there's a tire differential between he and Chad Winstead. So it's just a matter of time if and when that he does catch him to make the pass. These 4 trucks have been racing together almost all night anyway, and so nothing's going to change in the closing stages of this particular race to see exactly how it's going to unfold, whether or not they are just pacing themselves for a late run or they are actually just trying to run down Chad Winstead right now.
Yeah, I mean, most certainly so. Winstead leads it. O'Donoghue is in hot pursuit, and he's got 3 trucks right behind him. I have to agree with you, Sam.
Oh, and they got one. Is that?
It's the 85. That's Owen Simkovich, yeah, getting out of the way. But you've got, Sam, you've got Matt Sisler back there, and I'm with you. I think he's kind of playing possum.
Yeah, there's 53 laps, or excuse me, there's still 23 laps left in this event. And he knows that he has an opportunity to really, if he wants to save and be a little more conservative at the beginning of this particular stage and conserve a little fuel as well, then he'll do that right now and then just make a big push in the final 10 laps. The big concern is that the other truck's going to be able to conserve their tires, and he has to pass all of these trucks to make a bid for the lead.
Yeah, and we saw
that's
that.
Not going to be an easy task. That's not going to be an easy task. Even Greg Evans said last night, I talked to Greg today, and he said how difficult it was to pass here at Watkins Glen last night in the Xfinity Series, as well as these trucks could be equally as hard as we saw with James Hodgson and Matt Sisler in the last stage.
Well, and let's talk about that. So there's really only this course is very fast. It's very flowing. There are only a couple of passing zones in this track, and even if we used the full Grand Prix course here, the long circuit, which this is actually the Grand Prix circuit, right? But even if we use the full circuit, the long circuit that they use for the 6 hours in the Indy cars when they come here, there are really only 2 passing spots. The first one of those is into turn 1. The other one is going into the inner loop off the back straight. Those are really the only 2 places, and we kind of touched on it last night. It is very difficult to build a run that's strong enough to get by somebody at the back of the back straight, because the way the cars are geared, you hit terminal velocity on that straightaway. And so it's, if you get a really good run through the S's, that just means you're on the chip longer. I suppose if we ran the full course, Sam, I suppose that you might consider from the toe of the boot to the heel, 7 and 8, off of 7 and into 8 maybe, because that's a pretty tight right-hander, and you've got to get a really good launch out of it.
Yeah, a lot of drivers going down that hill in the boot like to take advantage of that as well.
Turn 6.
The problem is that kink as you head down into the boot, it really can disrupt the car a lot, especially if you're trying to make your move on the inside of another car, and it can disrupt it enough that the braking can be affected.
It does indeed, Sam. Chad Winstead, by the way, has held the lead over this quartet behind him.
Well, this quartet behind him is
they're slowly getting him, but he's
away at that lead.
Well, they are, but he's held a lot. He's held a lot tougher than some of the fellows did last night. We had several people that tried that strategy, stay out or pit early and stay out last night, and it didn't really work all that well for anybody. Chad Winstead is showing that can work, and he is currently leading the race. Now he's got 20 laps to go, Sam, and that's probably not going to be forever.
No, absolutely not. Ryan O'Donoghue was 0.3 faster than Chad Winstead that particular lap by, but I still think that these are conservative lap times by the second, third, fourth, and fifth place trucks. I by no stretch do I feel like that these lap times are. I do think that maybe looking at this last lap time, I want to check as Matt Sisler comes across. He is actually the faster of the four in this particular instance, because now he's probably thinking to himself he's within a 20-lap window and that it's time to go. If he was conserving that first 10 laps, then he's probably telling himself at some point, I've got to start maneuvering around these trucks in front of me if I can.
I agree with all that, Sam, and I think all of them were kind of playing at that game. Ryan O'Donoghue has not yet gone anywhere near the ultimate pace in that number 14. Neither has James Hodgson.
Not that he was running in those first two stages. I agree.
No, he's not yet begun to get anywhere close to that. But Matt Sisler, he is right there on Kendall Paul now. So he's decided his good years are good, and it's time to go. Matt Sisler is going to try to head to the front here and maneuver around Kendall Paul. He made up almost a half a second in a matter of 3 or 4 corners, Sam.
He's put a little more pressure on Kendall Paul for sure. Owen Simkovich has called it a night as well. He's taking that truck behind the wall.
Yes, he has. And there is Matt Sisler in the 35. And we're watching this battle as they inch closer to Chad Winstead. There's the other thing that I might point out, Sam, is it's possible, and we did hear from Owen Simkovich, he's popped the right front, and he's decided that he's gonna retire his truck. So there are 15 trucks remaining on the track, 13 on the lead lap. Dulabon 1 lap down, driving 1-footed. Jeremy Dunwoody 4 laps down. Speaking, Sam, of endurance, speaking of the Sim Gaming Expo, because we did want to come back to that. That's a huge deal. I'm going to be there. I know Gary Gotso is going to be there. There are going to be several people from various communities that we know. I know I've talked to, I know Matty Wagner is going to be there. He's in this race. Channel guys that are on the channel all the time. Jim Herrick from 4D Raceware, he's going to be there. Christopher, one of his drivers, will be there. And so we've all been kind of talking. Gary's going to do a lot of the broadcasting. There are a couple of different racing series, Sam, that are going to take place up there. The first is the Sim Gaming Expo Challenge Series, which P1 is going to have. We're going to do dueling streams. So RaceSpot is going to televise. RaceSpot's going to televise it, and they'll be simulcasting on. They'll be simulcast on all of iRacing's channels. So YouTube, Twitch, all of that. And then P1 is going to have a secondary stream that we're going to do just to try to get some additional viewers. And so do invite everybody to tune in for that, Sam. That's going to be tomorrow at races at noon, 1 and 2. So how about that?
Oh, that sounds exciting.
It's
a full agenda.
It is. I get to hang out with Andrew Wood all day, which I told him that instead of the T-shirt, the T-shirt from Top Gear that says "I am the Stig," I told Andrew that I was going to show up at the Sim Gaming Expo with a T-shirt that said "I am Andrew Wood." Either way, that's a pretty awesome deal for the community, for the channel. There's going to be 15 rigs up there. There's going to be live races. in an esports arena, and so it's a huge thing that's going to take place. I'm going to get a chance to race in that arena, Sam.
Have you ever raced in a open gaming atmosphere like that before?
I have not. I told Christopher that I was going to that I was not going to wear a beer dispensing helmet when I did so. But yeah, there's the Sim Gaming Expo, challenge, and then there's the Open Wheel Challenge, and so I'm going to be in the Open Wheel Challenge version of that, and I'm looking forward to that, buddy. That's going to be a ton of fun.
Oh, no question. You'll be able to put all your skills out there in the public for everyone to see.
Or
Matt Sisler, now he made quick work of Kendall Paul, and now he is trying to really get by James Hodgson, and
he's gotten by him.
Turn 11.
Meanwhile,
we got him, and now
you got battle
Ryan
for the lead.
Donahue has got to see his relative, and he knows that Matt Sisler is coming. Matt Sisler has been back, just sparing some tire, saving, and now he is Ryan knows he's next on the hit parade, and he's going to have to make short work of Chad Winstead, or he's going to have to deal with Sisler as well.
Yes, he is, and so just to put a fine point on that, I'm excited for a number of reasons. I had intended to go up there to broadcast, and got the invite to participate in the open wheel situation, and I'm looking forward to that, Sam. That's going to be a blast. The other part of it is just getting to meet people that you only know them by voice, right? Gary Godso and I have been friends in the sim and businesses.
Oh no, Jeremy Woody. He gets out of the way, but now he's in the grass as the leaders make their way around him.
He made it.
That was so jeopardous right there.
He made it. But the other thing about it that's going to be nice, Sam, is it's going to be a first time a lot of us have met. You think about Gary Godso and I, business associates, and we run a channel together, and Gary and I have never actually met face to face, and so.
That's interesting. That's going to make for quite the reunion. That's awesome.
Well, and I do know Christopher, right? I've met him. We both have contributed to the delinquency of Andrew Wood, and so there are guys that do know each other. Kyle Clinworth, Jacob Collins. We've all met, but there are people that you don't know that you haven't seen in the flesh, or people that you followed, like. The big one for me would be, Brendan Lichtenberg and Team I5G. I followed their YouTube channel before I ever even knew what iRacing was, right? That's kind of what got me into this whole thing. And so, I'm interested just to meet Brendan, because I followed him for longer than I've been in the sim. We had a great race, and we got to get back to it, Sam. 15 laps to go, coming to get 14. Ryan O'Donoghue got to Chad Winstead. Catching the man was one thing. Passing the man is quite another, and he hasn't been able to do it. David Dunwoody has chimed into the chat and says he's broke, and so he's going to be credited, I believe, with 15th once brother Jeremy rolls around another couple. And so a tough end of the night for David Dunwoody, but surprisingly,
kudos to Chad Winstead, because Chad Winstead is turning some really fast laps on tires that are a couple of laps older than what Ryan O'Donoghue has. His lap times are really good. Do I think that he's holding O'Donoghue up a little bit? Well, that could very well be the case, but again, we talked about how hard it is to pass here, and making sure that you do it cleanly. And I've actually seen where Winstead is actually on the front stretch. He's just made those discouraging moves to the right to keep O'Donoghue honest, so that he doesn't make that quick dive on the inside going on into one. But these two drivers up front are really turning some quick laps, and they are starting to pull away from third through fifth.
Yes, it is. I've just been doubly impressed. We talked about maybe O'Donoghue, Sisler were playing possum and saving tires. I don't know that Chad Winstead wasn't doing the same thing, sitting out in front of this deal, and might have snookered him. 13 laps to go. Ryan O'Donoghue has not made the inroads that we thought he would, Sam. He's not been able to get by Winstead, and as you look in the blimp, he's not really catching him. Jeremy Dunwoody sideways in the entrance to the carousel. He'll tow out of that. But he's not gaining in the places that you would expect him to gain, Sam. Which we just watched one of them, the entry to turn number, to turn number 5, the carousel. Another one is going to be.
We could very well be seeing the instance where the tires are equalizing for these drivers, and that 2-lap differential. 4 laps of caution, two laps of semi-racing on those tires for Chad Winstead. They could equalize here for these drivers, especially since he got out to that big lead and they had to kind of make up that ground to catch him. But Ryan O'Donoghue has got several laps to. Oh, and he looks on the inside going into the S's. But Ryan O'Donoghue has time to plan a pass here with Winstead if he has enough truck under him. But Winstead is doing a great job of running a steady line and good lap times. He's not going to make this easy on the 14.
Well, and here's another one. David Dunwoody has piped in and said they're all real close on fuel as well, Sam. And so we know there's not going to be a green-white checker. But
well, now in all due respect, David Dunwoody also told us that the last car that pitted last night was going to stay out, so we have to
take it with a grain of salt. But that's what the man put in chat. They're all real close, and that would kind of.
He said the 13 had enough fuel to finish the race, and then the 13 pitted. So. He was telling stories. He also just said the tires aren't wearing as we think they are, that they may be fairly equalized. And of course he may be playing some poker. He may be playing some poker of his own, Sam. Well, we don't know exactly what might be going on in the mind.
We don't know the agenda, so to speak. But he may very well be playing some poker because Chad Winstead is in that Discord with his team, and so. He may be.
Well, we will give respect where respect is due, and so David, we always appreciate any input that we get through the chat, and so we will certainly take that into consideration as we watch the closing laps here. We're 10 to go, and Chad Winstead still leads with several truck lead on Ryan O'Donoghue, and Ryan O'Donoghue still has time to make some kind of effort to make a pass here in the closing stages of this race. There is still enough gap between Matt Stisler, who has been closing a little bit, but these two front trucks are really working it hard to see who can finish this race in first place.
Yes, we have. Right on board with Ryan O'Donoghue. Right on board with Ryan O'Donoghue. He just can't seem to quite.
Oh, that was a big run. He had to really check up for Winstead right there. He really backed out of that truck that time. He had a huge run going.
Yes, he did. But he can't. He gets the run. He gets there down the back straight, and then you've got to slow down.
Winstead knows the overtaking places because he drives it extra deep into the bus stop there. But if these trucks get battling it out, then that's going to open the door for Sisler, who's closing on these two front trucks. And so if they get to battling it out, we could very well see a 3, 4, or 5 truck race for the win here in the closing stages.
We most certainly could. Winstead, O'Donoghue, and Sisler, nearly identical lap times. All 3 trucks the last time through. Ryan O'Donoghue just is all over the back of Chad Winstead, and he can't quite figure the way through here.
See that line that Winstead, he just kind of moves.
Well, there he goes.
There goes Ryan O'Donoghue. He drives it deep into the corner. He locks up the right front tire, and now they'll be side by side as they go into the S's. Winstead pulls off the crossover, and now we're right back where we were to square one.
All it needed,
Watch this
Sam.
run that O'Donohue gets coming up the hill, but he has to back
Whoa,
out a
he got it
little bit just to get
loose.
the truck back up under him, and that's going to open the door for Sizzler.
Yeah, he got it really loose, Sam, going through the S's. Ryan O'Donohue threw the Hail Mary with 9 laps to go. It didn't quite work, and now that checked up Chad Winstead because Winstead pulled the crossover. I think it overheated. It might have overheated O'Donoghue's tires just a little bit, and now he's got a rearview mirror full of Chad.
He's loose, and that's going to allow Sizzler to close even more here going into turn 10. Now they're catching the lap truck of Chad Dulabon.
And give Dulabon credit.
Will probably pull well over to the side. Nope, he's going to stay on a racing line.
Give Chad Dulabon credit, by the way. He's got to be sore and he's got to be hurting. With that tore up foot. And here goes O'Donoghue again.
Oh, O'Donoghue goes in there again.
Not quite. He smoked the right front. Didn't quite get there, Sam. But he's going to have a head of steam coming up the S's. And this time, Winstead's going to have lap traffic to deal with here.
Oh, they're going to catch Dulabon at the top of the hill here. And we're going to see how that's going to play out as they go into the bus stop. Winstead looks on the inside, but I think they're going to wait and allow. Nope, they're going to go right on the inside of Dulabon. And that Dulabon has to go through the grass, but he gets cleanly out of the way of the leaders. And now we've almost got a 5-truck race for the lead here.
Yeah, because all this battling has allowed James Hodgson and Kendale Paul to close back in on this group. Winstead and O'Donoghue, because of those huge moves down in turn 1, that's slowing them down a second a lap.
That's true.
That's slowing them down a second a lap. And so watch Ryan O'Donoghue. I've moved the camera twice. Whoa, Winstead sideways
Winstead
off of 11.
Sideways coming off the corner. That's going to be a big jump there for Ryan O'Donoghue as he makes one more attempt going into turn 1 on the outside this time.
There they are.
Swings wide. It looks like he may get a run out here. No, Winstead gets a good bite off of the corner on the inside. They'll go into the S's door to door. And now that opens the door for Matt Sisler. Matt Sisler is going to move into second place.
Well,
not without a fight. Ryan O'Donoghue is not done yet.
That's going to allow.
Sisler has the position here going into the chicane.
Yeah, Sizzler's got the position going in the bus stop. Not much O'Donoghue is going to be able to do to fight back, except maybe pull the crossover if Sizzler overcooks it, which he does not. So move Matt Sizzler to second, Ryan O'Donoghue to third. Chad Winstead still leads this baby with 7 laps to go, coming to get 6 laps to go. Logan Edwards is checked in the chat. He says, "Come on, O'Donoghue." So we do have a Ryan O'Donoghue fan in here, but this is fixing to get interesting, Sam.
Oh, there's no question. It passed interesting 3 laps ago when O'Donoghue decided he was ready to go. I still don't know that it's over with, as these two drivers, these 5 drivers are going to try and battle it out here in the closing stages. We only had 2 drivers that were really working through the pit strategy last night, and they were banging and beating.
O'Donoghue makes another move.
O'Donoghue now we've got 5 drivers within a second of each other. Are you kidding me? O'Donoghue into the tailgate of Sisler.
Yeah, I believe you're right. This isn't over. But these boys need to quit fighting because they need to get back up to Chad Winstead.
Sisler's explaining to O'Donoghue that he did not mean to check him up that much. He just missed a gear going through turn 1, and so.
And that's another thing we talk about. We talked about equipment earlier with Chad Winstead really wide through the carousel. That's going to allow Matt Sisler to get right up to his tailgate. We're talking about equipment earlier. Some of these guys actually use H patterns. Some of them have sequentials. It just depends on the equipment. I do not have an H pattern, but I do know several of the drivers in this field actually do use either Fanatec or Moza H pattern shifters in their rigs to mimic.
Yes, sir. Greg Evans is that. Greg Evans, who is won a lot of races in our Grand National Series here in the AMA. He is actually an H pattern shifter. I use sequential myself, but there are drivers that are very comfortable with that. Oh, and Sisler swings wide this time, but Ryan O'Donoghue follows suit. And that opens up just another truck length or 2 for Chad Winstead to pull away.
Yes, it does, and it's going to be very difficult now. As the laps tick by, the fewer you get, the more difficult it's going to be. You're losing opportunities. And remember, Sam, there's really only two, right? Into the inner loop is one there, and then down into turn one is another.
The only other instance that you're going to see that a truck may be able to make a pass is if someone makes a mistake. And we have seen where drivers have actually either driven in too deep and swung wide, or other drivers have been able to take advantage of trucks getting loose in front of them. So, I mean, anything could happen within the closing laps with these trucks, especially as the tires begin to get a little more heat and a little bit more wear on them.
Yeah, most certainly. So, looking at Winstead, looking at Sizzler.
Look at that closing speed. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but O'Donoghue goes wide.
Matt Sisler's got a big run this time, and he's really going to push on the tailgate of Chad Winstead. He's trying to get a big run up at the top of the hill. If Sisler and Ryan O'Donoghue had been able to time it a little differently, instead of getting the run at the beginning of the S and been able to get that run at the top of the hill, it would have made that overtake a little easier through the bus stop. But they've had to really check up for Winstead to be able to make sure that they can keep momentum as they go up that short chute. But here we are back in the carousel again, and Sisler is still trying to figure out the puzzle that is Chad Winstead.
Yes, he is. Do want to thank Whiplash SimCams for the amazing shots, including the drone. The P1 drone is out for the last, we're going to call it 3.5 laps here. But look at these pictures, Sam. It really gives you an idea of how much Matt Sisler is moving all over the back of Chad Winstead. Winstead loose, and I'm going to call that push loose through turn 11. It doesn't hurt him all that much. Sisler not close enough to take advantage, but at some point there's going to be a desperation dive here.
Oh, well, we've seen it already from Ryan O'Donoghue, and I just wonder how much he locked up the tires on 2 consecutive laps in turn 1. I just wonder how much of the tire that he's actually been able or that he degraded in those 2 instances, and he's not been able to use the front grip as much. And now we see Chad Winstead really open up a lead, but Matt Sisler could be working on a big run here. He's trying to get some inertia that he'll be able to catch him quickly.
You see it there. They've had 2 very distinct lines going through the carousel.
He's on the inside.
Yeah, we've seen 2
now they're door to door. Now Chad Winstead will have position as they come up here to turn 10.
Right, and that's the thing is he's able to build that run through the carousel. Matt Sisler goes spinning
sideways. Now Ryan O'Donoghue's in the back of Winstead, and now there are no cautions. Ryan O'Donoghue's going to establish the lead here. Winstead and Matt Sisler.
Yeah,
Chad Winstead is taking full responsibility for that contact, but now that's opened the door up for 3 other trucks as Ryan O'Donoghue has now taken the lead.
Yeah, and nowhere for Ryan O'Donoghue to go. He's going to get in the back of Chad Winstead. Kendale Paul and James Hodgson both avoid it. So it's going to be O'Donoghue, Hodgson, and Kendale Paul as Sisler and Winstead don't feel too awful bad for them, fans. They do get it pointed in the right direction. Winstead is now 6th. Sisler gets the ship righted in 4th. Winstead has gone to the pit lane, but Matt Sisler only lost a couple of spots on the scoreboard.
Well, now
Go ahead.
Now
Sam.
the conversation is that they really wonder now if Chad Winstead had fuel, if he had enough to finish the race.
Well,
James Hodgson has decided he's not going to go quietly in the night here. The Battling Brit decides he's going to close in on Ryan O'Donoghue.
It did, and think about all the, think about Ryan O'Donoghue, the trials, the tribulations, the broken shoulder, all of the things, the fast every week to the point of it becoming a running gag. Ryan O'Donoghue has not yet won an AMA race.
Now we've got the white flag.
And now we've got the white flag. The tailgate of that 14 is going to become extremely wide.
Oh, it's an 18-wheeler now. It's an 18-wheeler. There's no question. Ryan O'Donoghue is going to do everything in his power to make sure that he keeps that truck up front. And James Hodgson, who is equally as hungry for a win, going to get good. It's going to get good. Let's see how it finishes out.
I don't know that Hodgson is close enough, and I don't know that Hodgson's close enough, and James is way too much of a gentleman to use the bumpers, and so
I agree with that.
I don't. We're not going to see the same sort of a finish we saw yesterday between Greg Evans and Matt Sisler. Not that wasn't awesome, and this has been highly entertaining. Mike Rigney, you're exactly right, brother. It changed in a hurry over there off the carousel with 3 laps to go. But Ryan O'Donoghue, he's going to come down.
Now he's in turn 11, turn 10 and 11. He's going, as long as he navigates this last corner and keeps the truck straight and pointed directly, he's going to take the checkered flag. Ryan O'Donoghue, welcome to Victory Lane in the AMA Archway Industrial Truck Series. Congratulations, young man. Fine job.
So that is the maiden victory for Ryan O'Donoghue, and it's been long awaited. I'm sure we're going to have a very happy Ryan O'Donoghue. And as is our tradition on the road courses, we're going to stay in the flag stand and watch Barney flag everybody home. Through comes Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman. He's going to be credited with a 5th place finish here today. Paul Witt is going to come through in 6th. Matty Wagner fought his way.
Look, he finished 7th after all that went on. Matt Wagner.
He's still going to send me a torrent of text messages later, Sam, about it. Don't you worry. We're waiting on Crash Neon, and Jalen Story would be the last 2 finishers. Jalen Story never did give up that. Jalen Story never did give up that lap that he got back, and so we're waiting on them to come through. There's Jalen Story, or excuse me, Crash Neon. And Jalen Story will be along, so great job to him. He got the lap back through the pit strategy, and he never gave it back up, Sam.
How about that?
How about that, indeed? It never disappointed.
Burn it down, Ryan O'Donoghue. This has been long awaited for Ryan O'Donoghue. I hope he gets out there and just burns it down. I really do. Let's see if he takes it down to turn 1 or if he stops at the start-finish line.
Now, see, if he was me, and it was me, and I've done this, I like to do the pole vault over turn 1 into the yard of the farmhouse on the other side. O'Donoghue, though, he's going to be content with the donuts. He's also going to be content with the win. Ryan O'Donoghue, 0.2 of a second over James Hodgson. Kendall Paul is going to come home 3rd. Matt Sisler 4th. Justin Osterman 5th. Paul Witt 6th. Matt Wagner 7th. Brandon Wallace 8th. John Hutchins 9th. Crash Neon is going to round out the top 10. In 11th, Jalen Story. Chad Winstead is 12th. Chad Dulabon. So the Chads finished together. They're not accustomed to finishing 12th and 13th together. Remove the 1s and you're probably closer to what usually happens. But they're 12th and 13th nonetheless. The Dunwoodies are together in 14th and 15th. Owen Simkovich in 16th. Jacob Wilson, Chuck Sweeting, Brian Sharp, Pat O'Brien, and last but certainly not least, Donald Green are going to round out your finishers.
Interesting. Just absolutely interesting how that all unfolded, and you can't help but wonder, and we can ask Ryan when we talk to him, as he knew Sisler was equally as hungry for a win tonight, and so that he may have just been, once Sisler got around him, that he may have just been thinking, go ahead and race it out, boys, and see if I can't steal one here. He's had so many close calls, and so just I'm interested to hear what Ryan has to say tonight.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get some of these drivers up in the interview room and see what they have to say about it. Kendall Paul is in there, and so let's bring the man that pays the bills in here. He's earned it a different way. Kendall Paul, you've got Murph, you've got Sam Crow in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
I got a copy. What's going on, guys?
How entertaining was that, man? You had a ringside seat. You never really got a chance to stick the nose of your 78 up into the fight for the lead itself. But I don't think you could have bought a better ticket, man.
No, we had a front row seat and a high luxury front row seat to all that action. It was way entertaining, and I was just kind of watching first and second to see if they were gonna tangle up and maybe get an opportunity. But about taking time for Ryan O'Donohue, I'm really proud of him for his win. He definitely needed one, and really glad to see that he got one finally.
Yes, sir. Sam?
And Dale, it's, I am a little interested to know from your perspective, how do you feel with these particular races at the road courses, how they've unfolded for the last couple of nights? How pleased are you as an administrator here in the league, and not just an administrator but a participant, because you've had a fast truck and a fast car as well. So can you just give us a little insight about how you might feel?
As an admin, I am ecstatic about this road course racing. Normally for leagues, it's like the worst races possible on the schedule. They're boring, but I don't think I've seen a more entertaining road course race than what we've got here in AMA so far here at Watkins Glen. It put on a show. Really happy about that. Really happy for the league for that. Gosh, I'm repeating myself. Winded is the key word, but it's a testament to the guys that we have in the league. Truly, we got a very special group of guys that race with us week in and week out, and we just keep building on it every year. And really excited what the future brings for the AMA for going into the fourth year for the Truck Series next year. We got to finish this one up. Getting ready to go to the regular season finale. Our third annual regular season finale is next Friday. So really happy for the league itself. Really good racing, and it's been a really good ride.
Well, Kendall, honestly, and in all sincerity, you're not just a great administrator here in the AMA, but you have proven time and time again that you're a great racer. So congratulations on your podium tonight.
Thank you, Sam.
And with the congratulations from Sam, come the microphone, Kendall. Friends, family, sponsor, shout-outs. The floor is yours, my man.
Like I say all the time, Archway Industrial Coatings, you gotta shout them out first and foremost. They are the ones that make this league go around and make everything possible. I can't thank them enough, and how much support they give to the league and to myself and that sort of thing. And I've got to shout out Sean Mott. He just had a little baby girl here this week, so I got to shout him out and tell
congratulations from all of us.
Congratulations to the Mott family on that. Really happy for them. I think the other sponsors, Black Knight Studios, Rogue Energy, Trak Racer, AdminBoxx, all those guys that contribute in any sort of way to the league and to the team. And gotta thank all you guys up here at the P1 booth again, providing us with a great show. And we're really lucky to have you guys. And thanks to everybody back at DPI. Congrats to James on second. Congrats to Ryan on the win. And thanks to all of the league administrators that helped me out every week in and week out with this thing. That couldn't be possible without their help too. So a lot of people think, and I'm really glad that we got the ball rolling in the right direction and getting some consistent finishes.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have you, Kendall. Congratulations on the podium. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy. We'll see you next one.
Yep. Have a good night.
Yes, sir.
Great job.
That is Ryan O'Donohue, or that is Kendall Paul, rather. That is not Ryan O'Donohue. That is Kendall Paul. This is James Hodgson. We talked to him early in the race. There's no mistaking that voice. He Muppetized himself, which is his saying, and he avoided the Volkswagens. He brings it home second. James, how wild was that finish and the contact between Sizzler and Winstead and you guys sneaking through? How crazy was all of that, my friend?
That was completely bonkers. I mean, I was just trying to be patient after my idiotic move on the inside turn one with Matt Sizzler. I decided, you know what, patience is the best game here. And I was trying to look after the tires and watch everyone else, and there was some sliding going on. I just sat there and thought, there's three really hungry people here, and who knows what could happen. So I pounced. I took it. But I felt bad for Chad and Matt Sizzler because they were both running solid races. But patience paid off. So really happy with the second.
James. Well, I'm absolutely ecstatic that you had your podium finish tonight. I was rooting for you all throughout the race. You drove. I know you're hard on yourself for that move on the inside of Matt Sisler earlier on, but passing was at such a premium up front that you, at some point, sometime you do have to take somewhat of a gamble. And there was no harm and no foul outside of just losing a little bit of time. But can you give us a little insight? There was some question about fuel mileage there at the end of the race. Were you guys able to? Did you have plenty of fuel left?
I think I ended up with just over a lap worth of fuel. Between the pit stop at the end of stage 2 and the start, it was keep it in fourth gear, keep clutch as much as you can, save that fuel. I know some people were switching the engine on and off, and so I felt pretty comfortable from the word go that we had plenty of fuel. And I'd say the first few laps I was letting off the throttle slightly early before the braking zone, and just saving a little bit extra there just in case. But no, I felt comfortable on fuel. I know there were others.
Oh, that's
that
great. So, do you think there would have been a question of Chad Winstead, who had pitted well earlier than you guys before the final stage, if he may have run out?
Massive kudos to Chad, because he saved something like 4 or 5 laps worth of fuel while racing at the front. I mean, goodness knows how he did it. But the ironic thing was he was pitting that lap when the incident occurred. So yeah, he was done at that point. Another reason I was kind of biding my time and being patient, because Chad said he had to come in that time. So I thought, well, there's a podium position pretty much straight away.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much for joining us in the booth twice today, James. You're one of very few people that have ever accomplished that feat. Do want to say, man, I like running Watkins Glen with you. I like watching you. There was nobody that took over our car and wrecked it in the rain this time, so there's always that. With that said, and we don't have to worry about that scoundrel anymore. Friends, family, sponsor, shout-outs. The floor is yours.
Thank you. First and foremost, I know you were talking about cheese last night, so I'm going to throw mature English cheddar into the mix.
Oh, my goodness.
Go to Trader Joe's. They've got a fantastic selection, I'll tell you. Yeah, just big thanks to teammates of Dark Horse Performance. Great to see Kendall getting a podium tonight, and John getting a top 10, and Justin and others as well. So fantastic. Just thanks to the sponsor on the truck, Voodoo Setup Shop, Black Magic Studios, yourselves at P1 Broadcasting, who always put on such an amazing professional broadcast, even when you're talking about cheese and peanut butter sandwiches and all that good stuff. Archway Industrials, AdminBoxx, and yeah, my wife and kids who consistently put up with this nonsense. So thank you very much.
Thank you, James. Thank you.
I do want to say one more thing, though, James. For the second consecutive night in 2 road course races, you once again are the only driver with 1 incident point for the entire event. You had 1 last night. You had 1 tonight. No one else came close to that clean of a run tonight, and to finish in second position, man, it just really is a testament to your skill. So great job.
Thank you, Sam. And you know where I got that 1X? After the checkered flag.
Probably that bump with Matt Sisler.
No, it would have been after the flag, yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
Well, then it can't even count. It doesn't even count.
All right, good. Now get this guy out here. He's talking about cheese and sandwiches, and he's making me hungry. Keep going fast down the front, James. We'll talk.
Like you need an excuse to be made hungry.
I'm going for a beer. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Great job.
That is James Hodgson, and we're going to bring in the man of the hour now. Ryan O'Donohue, you've got Murph, you've got Sam in the P1 broadcasting booth. Welcome to Victory Lane, my man.
Oh man, it's about time.
I was going to say,
Ryan,
it's been a running joke between Sam and I, and I don't know if you watched the broadcast back or not, but it's kind of a running gag with about 5 minutes left in practice after we've talked about everything that we're going to talk about. And I'll throw it to Sam and I'll say, Sam, do you have any guesses as to who's the fastest in practice? And it's always Ryan O'Donohue. And you've been absolutely snake bit, bad luck, taken out in messes of your own making, broke your shoulder, whatever it was. But today you finally put it all together. What did you think when you saw Winstead and Sizzler hit together there?
Yeah, so I mean, all respect to Chad, he did everything he was supposed to do, right? Just couldn't find a way by. He crossed me over a couple of times. I made a move on him, and then I watched that gap come down to Matt from 2 seconds to 1.8 to 1.5, and then he was there, and I didn't let him by, but I didn't really race him as hard as I could have, because I was curious to see what was going to happen if he tried to do it. And nothing against him either. I wasn't sure what Chad was, if he was going to just run it dry or if he had saved enough. Whenever they got together, I mean, I hate that I got in the back of Chad too and finished him off, but I was committed to that line. I had nowhere to go really, but the seas parted once that happened, and then I saw a whole bunch of orange and James coming behind me, so I knew I had to go.
For sure. Sam?
Ryan, I am just absolutely ecstatic for you. I popped in after or before one of the events, and just wanted to let you know, man, what a quality racer you are, and just the speed that you have and the consistency that you have shown in your attendance and your dedication to the league and to the races that you show up. I mean, this is the reward for the things that you're putting into it, and so I'm just really, really happy for you. I could ask you a million questions about your race, but really I just want you to sit back and enjoy this win and just let it be the first of many. Ryan, I really do think a lot of you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're definitely going to enjoy this one. Time to do some playoff racing.
Yeah.
The beer's already flowing, so tonight's going to be a good night. It feels good. Yeah, we had it's been a long year. It's a great league, though. Great group of guys to race with. Some of it our own making, some of it not. But the trials and tribulations, I guess, definitely makes this one rewarding.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to watch you, Ryan. We're definitely gonna have one or two for you too, and just keep going fast, having fun, buddy. But before you get out of here, friends, family, sponsor, shout outs. The floor is yours, my man. You've earned it.
Yeah, for sure. My girlfriend, as always, she was sitting here sweating it out with me. It is hot in here.
Is she in the is it Bridie? Is that?
Yeah, Bridie. Yep, Bridget. Yep,
Bridget. Okay, so she was in the chat cheering you on too, man. That's always I love that.
Yeah,
that's always
we
fun.
got it. I always pull it up on the tablet here next to me. So if she's not here on Thursdays, the dogs are watching out in the living room, and then I pull the tablet up here, and we kind of have it going. So she's watching both things happen.
She's pulling double duty. She's the girlfriend and the beer assistant.
Yeah, I'm hollering out too. I'm like, did Chad pit before that stage? Is he gonna run out? She's yeah.
Well, my wife usually just stands here and sneers at me.
And ask when you're going to be done.
And ask me when I'm going to be done. Yeah, she's usually she's got a pad and she's writing a list of things I need to do when I'm done. So.
As soon as the race is over.
That's right.
Yeah, she for sure she puts up with all this stuff. So she's seen me in my good days and bad days. Now
I'll give you one, Ryan. So I was racing in the iRacing Indy 500. And we get down to the last 10 laps, and it's under caution. We're getting ready to have a restart, right? And I'm in the lead, and it's the top split, and it's a huge deal. And she is standing immediately to my left, tapping her foot with a grocery list. So there you go. Keep going, my friend. I'm sorry I interrupted. I always thought that was a funny story. So that's awesome that she enjoys with you.
All good. Yeah. Definitely good to get Mass Surgical Supply in Victory Lane. We tried hard for that at Lime Rock, but hey, I live in New York. This is the home track, so good to have them. Heatwave Visual, like always. Gotta thank this league, AMA, Kendall, all the admins. I mean, great run from them guys too on the podium. Archway Industrial Coatings, Black Magic Studios, Trak Racer, Rogue Energy, AdminBoxx, and you guys in the booth, man. P1 Broadcasting puts on a show, and yeah, we definitely watch the broadcast back. I'll watch this one maybe a couple times while I finish off this 12 pack.
Good deal, Ryan. Well, thank you so much.
It's a good one. You're gonna enjoy it.
Yes, you are. Thank you so much for joining us in the booth. Get out of here. Keep on celebrating. We'll see you at the next one. All right, buddy. Keep going fast and having fun.
All right, thank you guys. Thanks everybody for watching too.
Ryan.
Yes, sir. That is Ryan O'Donohue. That is one happy man, Sam.
He sure is.
And that's
And
kind
I
of.
don't blame him.
No, I don't blame him one bit either. And that's kind of the fun of it. When you get to see a guy who's that talented and that good finally break through and win a race. That's what it's all about, Sam. And so I do enjoy that thoroughly. I'll tell you what else I'm going to thoroughly enjoy. We've got an action-packed lineup here on P1 coming right at you tomorrow, beginning at noon, 1 and 2 o'clock. So top of the hour, beginning at noon for 3 hours. It's going to be the Sim Gaming Expo Challenge Series presented by SemiCube. We're going to have one broadcast. RaceSpot's going to have the other. iRacing and all of its official channels are showing that one. It is a huge deal. Turn out for that. Identical Porsches at Daytona. Immediately following that, or beginning adjacent to it, Gary Godso is going to have the 2025 iRacing IndyCar Series presented by 4D Racewear Round from Portland, and that is the second to last race of that season. And so they're getting down to the nitty gritty. Sunday night, it's 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, it is the Vote of Indy Oval Series from Pocono. Monday night, Jacob Collins and I are going to be in the booth for the IndyCar Series Monday Night Top Split from Phillip Island. And then Tuesday, the flagship broadcast, it's the IndyCar Oval Tuesday Top Split presented by Techtopia. That's going to be from Motegi. Wednesday, Ryan Eric King, the wonderful Wreck and I are going to have the Horizon IndyCar Series, and that's going to be from Auto Club. And if you think this was fun, wait till you put 30 Indy cars at Fontana. Sam, that is absolutely wild. And that brings us right back to the AMA. 1 week from yesterday, the AMA Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series will visit Iowa. A special thanks to all of our viewers, our friends, the participants, the administrators, everybody that makes the AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series go around. It was another fabulous audience. If you haven't done so, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell so that you can subscribe to the channel and be notified of all future AMA and P1 broadcasts. Do want to also thank all the other people that make this possible, and those are the first responders, the military, the police, the firemen, the EMTs, the guy driving the ambulance, and the nurse that gets you out of it when you get to the hospital. Sam, from the bottom of our hearts, we thank them.
Thank you all. Thank you.
6-day break, Sam. 6-day break, brother.
Really? How do we manage that? How did we get that?
I don't know who negotiated the contract, but we'll see him in 6 days. See you later, everybody.
Oh, I hear you, my friend. Good night.